The story of Syria at the moment, with Bashar al-Assad's ousting by Tahrir al-Sham, is a story of managed chaos and the precarious position that Russia finds itself in with its two military bases at the Khmeimim Air Base and the Tartus Naval Facility um, now now appear to be under a large question mark. What's interesting is that that question mark may be present, but at the same time, there's a lot of activity on platforms like Russia Today and the Times of India. There's an interesting little channel on YouTube which doesn't do any talking. It just has lots of pictures and rather provocative titles. All of this is part of the propaganda effort to push for Russia, for the recognition of Russia's control of these two stations. At the same time, the new leader, Ahmed al-Sharaa, has made it quite clear that he wants Russia to withdraw from the region. The strategic significance of the bases in projecting power into the Mediterranean and to support Russia's operations in Africa, circumventing Black Sea restrictions and the restrictions of passing through the Bosphorus Strait, is it's highly significant, because without this base in the Mediterranean, Russia cannot operate more broadly. The humiliation of a withdrawal would represent another smack in the face to Putin, especially after granting asylum to Assad. But then, of course, he grants asylum to Assad, the enemy of the person who's now controlling Syria. This is a fractured effort at brinkmanship. The HTS leader, Ahmed al-Sharaa, his cautious overtures towards Russia, emphasizing the importance of, quote, mutual respect. Well, we only hear that from Russian media. And HTS's broader goal to consolidate power while avoiding direct provocation of global powers like Russia or of the US is probably much closer to the mark. Russia's propaganda efforts, meanwhile, though through these supposed Indian YouTube channels and RT, aims at reshaping the narrative about its role in Syria. And this is as much for the domestic audience as it is for the international audience, and to put pressure on the new Syrian regime. Russia may offer diplomatic recognition of HTS in exchange for retaining its bases. And from that point of view, of course, it is important that the Western powers, Britain, the United States, particularly, take the initiative in this instance and recognize the legitimacy of the new regime, and help that new regime to achieve its status in the region. It's not helped by the Israeli strikes targeting weapons in Syria and Turkey's key role as a backer of HTS, possibly limiting Russia's leverage. Again, Turkey could lead the way in recognizing the new leaders and the sovereignty of Syria. And meanwhile, the US-backed Kurdish forces in northeastern Syria and their contentious role in the conflict needs to be resolved. And I think it's time for America and Turkey to sit down together and thrash out the Kurdish situation, because the Kurdish paramilitaries have been active in Turkey for too long and have done too much damage. There are three potential outcomes to the current state. Firstly, that Russia stays and HTS grants temporary concessions, either because of Israeli aggression or because of a need of support against the Kurdish or the US forces. the US must make it clear that it is on the side of the new leadership of Syria. The second possibility is that Russia leaves and Moscow redeploys assets directly to Africa but faces diminished influence in the Middle East. And the third possibility, particularly with inaction, and there's been inaction for the last 2 weeks, is that HTS delays any decision, leveraging the basis for broader negotiations with global powers, and Russia and the US and Turkey delay any decision. The implications for regional stability, the implications for encouraging regional stability are enormous. The implications for managing regional instability are enormous, particularly with the evolving balance of power. Will HTS prioritize pragmatic alliances or ideological purity? That is the big question, and it can be influenced. Can Russia redefine its role in Syria to align with HTS's conditions? That again, it's quite clear from Russia's recent activity that the moral compass isn't that active, and anybody who even smiles or winks in Russia's direction is likely to get a positive response from a desperate from a desperate power desperate to curry favor. The events which unfold over the next few days, I think, are going to be significant, but I don't think one should pay too much attention to the propaganda coming out of Russian channels or organs like RT.